Hi, welcome to my March TBR video. It is currently 5:05 in the evening and I have just realised that March is tomorrow. I really feel like I should have had some extra days in February. Like I know it's a short month, but it just feels like it's like super short. Yeah. So I was like, shit, I need to go and do my March TBR video like now and edit it and publish it now. So I haven't thought about it. I haven't planned it. Ever the professional. I am also, I've decided to try and do things a little differently. I have been setting like a TBR every month that has got round about 10 to 12 books, sometimes a little more. And it's not that I can't read that many, it's that I've discovered that I'm like a really terrible mix of somebody who loves planning and spreadsheets and preparation and getting organised, and somebody who just wants to fuck it all and mood read. So I find that my TBR works okay initially, and then my mind just kind of goes, do you know what, I'm really not in the mood for this, let's just pick something else. So I thought maybe I should do a smaller TBR at the start of the month of books that I am definitely, no matter what, definitely going to read, and then after that I can just pick whatever. I have been trying to get my NetGalley read list down, but then I also can't help requesting them, so it's actually getting bigger, not smaller, despite how many I'm reading. And yeah, I'm at the point now where I probably cannot read every single book that's due in March or every single book that's due in April or whatever. It's just too many. And also that just does not work with the mood reading thing, because sometimes the books that I've got on my TBR are just like maybe not what I'm quite into at that moment in time. And then I end up going picking a book off my shelf or on my Kindle, and then I just fall even further behind. So to try and avoid feeling terrible at the end of every month for not completing my entire TBR what I've set out, I'm going to probably just do 5 or 6, and then the rest are just going to be mood reads. Having said that, I am joining in 2 month-long readathons this month. I'm going to be joining the Femathon readathon, and I will put some links down below for that. And I'm also going to be joining in with the middle grade March readathon. Again, links below. And yeah, I really have not properly planned what books I'm going to use for the prompts. I did pull out some middle grade books, and yeah, so let's get started. 2 middle grade books that I am definitely going to read this month, because I was desperate to read these, and that is The Boy at the Back of the Class by Angelique Ralph. I think I've pronounced that right. And City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. Totally different. This is like a ghost story. Apparently it's a bit like fantasy, I don't know. Cass has the ability to see and speak to spirits. She goes on a trip to Edinburgh with her parents, who are filming some kind of haunted house TV show, and she meets another girl who has similar powers, and then Cass discovers how dangerous the spirit world can really be and how much she's got to learn about her powers. That is all I know. So yeah, and then The Boy at the Back of the Class. Now, apparently this is told from the perspective of another child in the class, not the actual boy at the back of the class. So one day this boy appears at the back of the class. He looks a bit unkempt, a bit scruffy. He doesn't speak a word of English. He doesn't have any friends. And the other children in the class make it their kind of mission to figure out who he is and why he's there. And then when they discover out that he's actually a refugee and the horrible things that he's gone through prior to coming to England, you know, they rally behind him and become his friends, and it just sounds amazing. I've heard lots and lots and lots of good things about this book, so I really want to read that. The other off my shelves that I'm going to be reading this month, and if anyone saw my February TBR and when you see my February wrap up, you'll understand why. It's Deathless Divine by Justina Ireland. This is the second in the Dread Nation duology, and it's hard to explain this book without spoiling the first book, but basically it's set during the time of the Civil War in America, and we've got black people who are slavery is not legal at that point. However, it kind of is, and it's done with like a workaround so that the black people, when they are working for the white people, they get like a token wage, because if they're getting a wage, the class as an employee, not a slave, but it's not enough to live off, and you know, things like that. We have black girls who are sent to these kind of training schools where they learn to fight zombies, and they will then become attendants to rich white women who they will protect from the zombies. And the first one, oh my god, incredible. Like, oh, it just blew my mind. I knew it would be. I just knew. I knew. Anyway, more about that in my wrap-up video. So yeah, I cannot wait to get into this. As soon as I finished Dread Nation, I wanted to dive into this, but I just couldn't, because I had this set TBR that I was trying to work through, and this is one of the reasons that I want to kind of do a smaller TBR and give myself a bit more wiggle room, because when I get a great book, or when I'm really in the mood for something, I feel guilty reading that instead of something I've already planned. So yeah, cannot wait. It is a bit of a chunker though. However, I think this can be used for the Femathon. There's something about, I think there's BIPOC representation is one of the prompts, which this would definitely work for. There's also a prompt about women kicking ass, you know, like really fierce, strong women, and this would definitely work for that as well. Right, on to the arcs now that I'm definitely going to be tackling this month. And the first one is, I am going to read this title because it's got two different titles, the book, and I always get confused as to which one. I think they've gone ahead with, it was on Goodreads with two different titles, but so it's The Book Collectors, a band of Syrian rebels and the stories that carried them through the war, by Delphine Minouy. I think I've said that right. So this is true story about a band of Syrian rebels. During the Syrian Civil War, gosh, that's a tongue twister. This group of young men, they were searching for survivors after some bomb blasts, and they ended up stumbling across like a whole like cache of books, and they decided to collect them. And then as they were looking for more survivors over the coming months, they collected any books anytime that they came across them, and they managed to build up like a secret underground library. And what that did, I mean, I know you're kind of saying, why is that a great thing during a war, or it's not exactly essential, but what they did was provide like this kind of sanctuary where people could go and try and escape some of what was going on. For 4 years during the Civil War, nobody could leave the town of Daria, which is where this is set. Nobody could leave, nobody could get in. All international aid was blocked by the fighting forces, whoever they were. And so the people in Daria literally had whatever they had in the city when the war started. And what these young men did, they not only provided this kind of safe sanctuary underground, but it was also a place where people could meet up and give each other support. They also helped provide education for the children and some of the adults that obviously were caught up in things, the innocent civilians, and they were helping. Some of the stuff that they taught helped people to, I guess, like continue on with jobs, or improve their skills in jobs so that the society could still continue to survive. And I just think that this is incredible. And it was a book that I was going to read, I think it was in October, but then the publication date was pushed back quite a bit, and it's now going to be in March sometime, so I'm definitely going to read that one. Then the next arc that I am definitely going to read is one that I'd put on my February TBR, and that's Mother by Laura Jarrett. Some people might remember me talking about this one as in the one that would possibly be quite triggering for me. You know, throw at me blood, guts, violence, whatever, but when a mother has to decide between her two children in a life or death situation, and then that's when my head just like, yeah. So I didn't put it off on purpose. I didn't like consciously choose to not get round to this book or to like put it at the bottom of the list, but somehow, you know, coincidence or not, this book has ended up not getting read in February. So I feel like I should probably try to read it as close to the start of March as possible. One, to kind of, it needs to be done and it needs to be reviewed. There you go. But also number two, because I feel like if I keep leaving it and letting it build up in my mind, then it's going to be a bigger issue than what it is, I think. You know, like when you just keep putting something off that you need to do. I feel like I just need to eat the frog and get on with it. So this is the one where a mother is in her car with her two daughters. She has a car crash and she has to choose which daughter to save during this accident. And then the story continues with the family dealing with what happened and then finding out exactly what led to the accident and what actually happened on the roads when they had the accident, and the consequences of her choice of which daughter to save. And yeah, it just sounds horrible. It sounds like a really good plot, but like horrible emotional wise. So I'm gonna give it a go anyway. And then I think the last book that I'm going to put on my definite list this month is Dark Lullaby by get it together, Bekah. Dark Lullaby by Polly Ho-Yen. Yay, I did it. Right, so this is a dystopian and this is one of my favourite subgenres. So yeah, I am super excited to read this one. I mean, look at this cover. Like this, I mean, what? It just looks so good. It reminds me of some of the Christina Dolce or Dolka, however you pronounce it. It reminds me of some of her books and The Handmaid's Tale, sort of. And that's just from seeing the cover and reading the synopsis. So we've got a woman who ends up pregnant with her, I think it's second child. I know they live in a society where population is very, very strictly controlled, and I think from memory they're only allowed one child, or if it's two, that she's pregnant with a third or whatever. So whatever the number is they're allowed, she's pregnant with the next one and she has to try and keep that a secret, and then obviously the baby's born and she has to keep the child a secret. And there's kind of like talks of how far will a mother go to protect her family. And for me, that is another chilling concept. But if it is along the lines of what I'm thinking of, you know, Handmaid's Tale and all them ones, then I cannot wait, because I absolutely love those books. So this is going on my definite list. And then after that, I have got a list and a half, maybe this long, of other arcs that I need to try and fit in somewhere this month, but I'm not going to pressure myself. If I fancy reading something else at some point, then so be it, and I'll just tell you about it at the end of the March and not feel like crap about it. I mean, I've literally got Wondersmith already pulled out just in case for middle grade March. So yeah, I'm just gonna like read whatever because I can. So Thank you very much for watching, and let me know below if you have read any of these books and what you thought of them, or if you think I've chosen some of the wrong ones to be on my definite list. So please like and subscribe, and I will see you all soon in another video. Bye.